Hello, welcome to day 16 of Podmas here on a Sideways Life podcast, the honest guide to living and working abroad. I'm Leanne.
And I'm Al.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hi.
And well done if you've done every single one of Podmas now. It's 16 in. Yeah. Can we give a big shout out to Francesca, because she texted a little while ago saying that she listened to number 8 or number 9. I don't know whether she just gave up after that.
Or she skipped straight forward to the ones she was interested in.
Maybe. But if you are listening to this, Chezzy and Phil and Arlo.
I miss you guys.
Yeah.
If you are listening, it's a day early, but happy birthday, Arlo, for tomorrow. The big 2. It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to appreciate. Maybe appreciate in 3 years' time and go, look, you got a shout out on the now world famous as featured on CNN and BBC podcast.
Maybe.
Yeah. If you are listening and you do know anyone in BBC, then hook us up, will you?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Anyway, so today's subject is what, Leah?
Well, today's Christmas song is Paul McCartney. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
And it goes like,
simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
Lovely. If you like that song, then look on and go to search on Spotify for a Sideways Life or a Sideways Podmas, is it? Sideways Christmas?
Sideways Christmas.
Yeah, well researched, Al. A Sideways Christmas, and there's a playlist with our podcast episode and the corresponding song that we've chosen to go along with that. As we've said before, we can't put the song in the podcast because of copyright, and especially around Christmas. And that Paul McCartney is a litigious fucker, isn't he?
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably less so than his wife, but anyway, let's move on. Ex-wife.
Sorry, Paul.
Yeah. So, didn't have a leg to start. So, where are we up to?
So today we thought we would keep the theme of health and wellness going. We've had some lovely comments and messages about our previous few episodes on this, so thank you so much for all your thoughts. We do have some actual recorded thoughts coming. Lovely people that have recorded voice messages for us, so that'll be coming very, very soon. We're just waiting for a couple more to come in.
Do you mind if I interrupt you there for a quick second?
Sure.
If you do want to record a message and appear on our podcast, then we've now set up this fancy new thing. It's not a fancy new thing. It's just an app that we signed up for, which will allow you to record a message that we can then potentially play on our podcast. Just go to sidewayslife.com/hello. And you have to type it in that particular way. Hello, HELLO. Hello. That's it. That's
and what do they
say.
do when they get there?
Well, they'll see a screen that says, would you like to record a message? And you're going to go, yes, I do. Press the big green button, record your message. Ideally include profanity if you can, but not that C word. Remember, we're not allowed to use that. If it's any good, we'll use it as part of our episode in the future.
Yeah.
Mainly what we're going to be doing is asking you for your feedback on stuff, or asking you for perhaps ideas on future episodes. So we might be saying, look, so if you've ever done X, then go to sidewayslife.com/hello, and you will be able to leave a message or contribute to the episode. But anyway, I feel like I've taken us slightly off track here.
No, I think that was a good thing to share.
Good.
And yeah, I look forward to hearing your messages. That'd be it.
Yes. We look forward to your letters.
Yeah. So back to day 16. So in terms of mental wellness, I'm a psychologist, which is a technical term. And one thing that
a psychologist is just in case anyone doesn't know what.
Yes, I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'm a business psychologist, but part of that is how to protect and nurture employee well-being. And one of the things that I talk to my clients a lot about is something called psychological capital. Do you know what psychological capital is, Al?
Is it P? As in the capital of psychological.
Yes.
Yeah, is that right?
Exactly what it is. Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
No, psychological capital is a psychological phenomena that consists of 4 elements. It consists of self-efficacy, which is confidence, self-esteem. It consists of resilience, so your ability to manage setbacks and persevere through the hard times. Hope, so just looking positively into the future, and optimism, which is, being optimistic about just stuff in general, trying to turn those lemons into lemonade,
Can I ask you, what's the difference between hope and optimism?
I think hope is based on a hope of future events, a hope of things that could be, could happen, hoping outcomes. And I think optimism is being positive in the here and now as well as in the future.
So optimism is kind of the present and hope is kind of the future.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Have you ever seen that? I'm sure you have. That X Factor audition that for the magician who's Mr. X or whatever.
Oh my God, that is so good. That is a story in hope and resilience. That is.
There we go. So if you've not done that, just type in to YouTube Mr. X, and there's 2 auditions. And there's one from maybe about 10 years ago and one from maybe about 5 years ago. Watch the 10-year one first, I think. Is that fair enough?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There's 25 minutes, isn't it? Keeps you off the gin.
Yes, and it's very, very good. It's very, very good. But yeah, so the whole point is, and we touched on this in an earlier episode, having a positive mindset, being optimistic, being hopeful, does have a significant impact on how positive your emotions are in general, your ability to take action, and also, although it's part of the same thing, being hopeful and optimistic also builds your resilience, which is one of the best things you can have in terms of being psychologically well. So we thought, let's practice what we preach, and let's today in our podcast try and be optimistic and hopeful in terms of our Christmas futures. So yes, our plans this year are in tatters. I think at this point we're meant to be in Wales with Mum and Dad. Tomorrow we're meant to be in Manchester with our friends. And we're not, and that's shit. But let's talk about our hope for the future and our optimism, what's positive about us being in Croatia for Christmas.
Very nice. Now, I think that in terms of optimism, I think we're actually okay. I think we're relatively optimistic people.
We are glass half full kind of people.
I think so. And we were talking about this the other night, that the majority, we were saying, right, try and, in all the 2013 to 2000 and almost 10 years of traveling, think about all the bad things that have happened. And we were like, okay, yeah, we can name about 20. Now think of the things that were bad and were truly bad, as in kind of it ruined everything. And we couldn't find a single one, because the one things that happened, like we went across in Thailand, we had to renew our visa. So it was quite a convoluted journey. Have you ever seen the film with Steve Martin and John Candy's Plane, Trains and Automobiles? It was basically that in Thailand, because we genuinely got a taxi, then got a boat, then got another taxi to the office to get our thing renewed, and then discovered that they were closed for a public holiday. And the whole journey took us about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get across there, and then an hour and a half, 2 hours to get back.
On a work day as well.
On
so
it's
not time that's easily lost.
However, on the way back, we in Thailand and in a lot of the eastern countries, they have taxis where basically just people just jump on. They're like a mini bus, I suppose, but like a mini bus, and you jump on and then you jump off at certain places.
But it's like a pickup truck, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just like sit on the back on a bench.
Yeah, and so we someone who joined the taxi at the dock got taken to a beautiful hotel in Kai Bay. Is that right?
Kai Bay, yeah. It's on Koh Chang.
Sorry, yeah.
So it's the bit that goes around the Gulf of Thailand, isn't it? So it's not like the skinny bit that goes down where lots of the islands are. It's a bit that kind of goes around an arch, and there's a beautiful island there called Koh Chang, which we spent a lot of time on that. We
did, and this taxi took us to this hotel to drop someone else off. We both looked at it and went, "Wow, that's amazing." And then we went back about a week or so later, and we were like, "Yeah, let's just go and stay for a few days."
And it was quite an expensive hotel, wasn't it? So we only booked the basic room.
And we got there, and there was 2 couples. There was a couple, an English couple, who we are kind of guessing had flown there. And to get there is probably a good 20 hours, because you fly into Bangkok, then you get a taxi, or you fly another bit down to somewhere else, then you get a boat, then you get a taxi. So there's probably a long journey, but they were very grumpy.
They were kicking off.
Yeah, they were like, I was expecting some kind of welcome drink. Did you not bring a welcome? And the woman was really the woman behind the desk, she was working her bottom off, trying to sort things out, and they were just kicking off. And
it seemed like there was some kind of mix-up with the reservation, didn't it? It took us about 45 minutes to check in.
But we just sat there quietly. We're like, yes, no problems. We got a welcome drink after about half an hour, but we were fine. We were living with that. And then she came across to us, and what did she say, Leah?
She said, thank you so much for waiting. I'm really, really sorry. And just to let you know, we've given you a complimentary upgrade. Oh, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
This isn't just like an extra kettle in the room.
No. So then somebody else helps us with our bags down to the room. And as we get there, I'm like, we're not staying in one of these. Like because there was just like it's like a massive complex, isn't it? With like beautiful gardens and water features and we'd booked the basic rooms at the back. And we were like getting closer and closer and closer to the seafront. It was like, and just beautiful, beautiful like bungalow. We went upstairs and it was the premium room that they offer. It was incredible. It was massive. It had a big old bed. It had a bath that was basically a small swimming pool. It was huge.
With a lifeguard who was who'd monitor it. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And then we had our own terrace, and it was maybe about 50 feet from the sea. It was just incredible. And so we looked at it and we go, look, the worst thing that happened to us was almost an entire work day wasted going across the mainland to get our visa renewed. But then we found, not only did we find the hotel, not only did we shut up and just put up with the confusion when we checked in, but we got the most, one of the best experiences in Thailand ever.
Absolutely. So without that little bit of unluckiness, we wouldn't have had our huge scoop of luck. So yeah, and we have a lot of examples like that actually, that it's all turned out for the best in the end. Absolutely. So I think all that was maybe a long way around of saying that actually when you look at things, very few things are bad. Yes. There are some terrible things that happen, and of course some unfortunate people who with terrible things happen to them. But at the same time, most of us, you look at something and you look back and you go, well, actually, this wouldn't have happened if that wouldn't have happened, like being made redundant or something like that. I have been made redundant. I was devastated. I think that was probably the first time in my life that I really experienced depression. Like not just being sad, like depression. There were days I couldn't get out of bed. But if that hadn't have happened, oh man, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have found the confidence or the opportunity to go freelance, kind of risk free. We wouldn't have traveled to 44 countries in 5 years. Absolutely. That wouldn't have happened. And I went bankrupt in 2007 for £106,000, which is a lot of money. And I know but I was at the time, I was like, this is the end of my life. But it wasn't. It was the very beginning. And it was not the very beginning of my life, but it was the beginning. And my business partner and I created a business out of that that brought us a fair amount of wealth, which we wouldn't have had that not have happened. And my two houses got repossessed. So, and you might not have met me. You might have stayed and leave. True. Very true. So I suppose it's a very long-winded way of saying it is that you've got the resilience, which is the ability to look at things and think it's not as bad as it looks. The optimism to think, well, something might come out of that, and the hope, which means you're not looking at your future and going, well, nothing good's going to happen, because I feel like. Maybe I'm going a bit down an avenue here, but I feel like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that if you believe that your life is shit, then your life will be shit, because, it's you're just not going to see the opportunities, even when they're very well hidden. And there's a million cliches you can throw at it, can't you? With every closed door, every closed window, a door opens, but it really is a case of trying to stay positive, like you say, trying to stay optimistic, trying to stay hopeful, because you do have that power to change it. When we said this on the podcast before, no one's coming for you. Nope. No one's going to help you. No one's going to just say, here's a check for $12 million. Congratulations for being you. It's just not going to happen. It's like moaning about not winning the lottery when you don't play the lottery. It ain't going to happen. Or moaning about not winning the lottery when you do play the lottery. I think it's I think a lot of people, and this sounds like I'm shitting on people, and I'm really not, but a lot of people think they're just, like you say, they're waiting for someone to knock on the door with a check. There's a very famous American guy for the lottery or something where they knock on your door with a check and they televise it and whatever. This isn't going to happen. We just interviewed someone last night, and it's going to go live in January. I think you're going to really enjoy this. And basically,
He's like, no one's coming for you. It's like, it doesn't. He was a professional footballer who was on £50 a week. I mean, people think
as a professional footballer.
As a professional footballer for Reading, no, for Carlisle, sorry. And then the club went bankrupt, and it's like, you know, you can, basically his point was that it's not all as good. In fact, tell you what, this is a better example. I was reading a book this afternoon, and it was about Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac. And I might be butchering this story, but someone came up to him, or he went up to someone else and said, I wish I could play the keyboard like you do. And they said, no, you don't. He goes, well, yes, I do. Of course I do. He goes, no, you wish you could just sit down and play. I practice 4 hours a day plus perform, and I've done that since I was 7 years old. So all you're seeing is me sitting up here, grandstanding and being amazing at the keyboard, but you've not seen all the stuff that goes behind it. So
and it's like those, and I'm sure, listener, you're not one of these people, but those people that would say, oh, it's all right for them. Well, no, because chances are they've worked really freaking hard to get where they are, and you've not seen it when they've just been made redundant, or they've lost their business and their two houses and gone bankrupt, or, you know, the horrible things have happened. You've not been there then. You've not seen their entire journey and the work and effort they've put in. There's very few people out there that you probably could say, well, it's all right for you. You know, it's not, it's graft. And the message is, it's not always easy. It is really hard, but you have the power, and you can do it.
you can choose. I think you can choose to be unhappy. You can choose to be happy. There are plenty of people who are very happy and have a life-changing disability, for example, and you could look at them and say, yes, all right, you probably have every right to sit at home, claim your benefits, and feel very sorry for yourself. But they don't. They go out there and live the fullest life they possibly can. Conversely, there are people who are perfectly able-bodied, perfectly able-minded, who do want to sit at home and cry their eyes out about, oh, well, I didn't get the opportunities. Well, fuck off. If you've not knocked on 100 doors, then you're not going to get any opportunities.
Yes, and I think there is still a point that people need help and assistance. They don't always know the way or have access to, or can't see the access to the opportunities. And, you know, I used to work in welfare to work, and we'd help individuals and families exactly that, who had lost their way and didn't know the support that they could get. But every single one of them, every single one of those people that went on to a success story took that shift in mindset, took that change from, well, this is shit and there's nothing I can do about it, to, okay, actually, so if I can get this help and this support, and if I work really hard, then I can get that job and I can get that promotion. You know, it's mindset is so important, and I don't think you can underestimate that. And also, like you say, it is, being positive is a choice. I don't think either of us are naturally sunny in our disposition, but we make an active choice to be positive.
Absolutely. So we've had a 13-minute detour. I think both of us, when we sat down to record this, had a different idea of what was going to happen and what we were going to say. And I don't know. Actually, I say both of us. I know I did. Maybe Leanne didn't. But I like where it's gone. I like the fact that we're not preaching to you. We're saying, look, you know, we too have down days, but at the same time, you're like, and that's even more difficult when you're living in a beautiful country with sunshine and where a beer is £2, and you know, you're literally 6 minutes walk from the beach, and you feel like it's even worse because you feel like you've got no right to be down. But we all have them. And I think the whole point of this is, as you said, the resilience to be able to pick yourself back up, the optimism to be able to look at the bright side when you do get challenges, and the eternal hope that tomorrow is going to be better. And it doesn't have to be necessarily that today's bad. It's just, I hope that tomorrow is just 1% better than today. And I hope that we carry on like that for the rest of our lives, that every single day gets just incrementally slightly better, because then it's going to be awesome.
So let's talk about hope, that looking to the future and imagining a different set of better quality problems, let's be honest. So what am I hopeful for in the future? I am hopeful that this time next year I'll be in the UK with my friends and family that I would have I'll be able to just get up and walk over and hug my mum anytime I want, rather than have to reimagine back to the time where she gave me a last cuddle 12 months ago. I am hopeful that I will get to see Arlo, who mentioned birthday is tomorrow. I've not seen him since he was just a few days old, so he's going to be an entire person by the next time I see him. But I am very hopeful that I will see that next year or in the summer, maybe. What are you hopeful for, Al?
I think the same thing. I think if there's one thing the pandemic's taught all of us is that we took a lot of things for granted.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We took just for granted being able to go and have a cup of tea and a ginger nut biscuit with your parents, or being able to say, text someone, do you fancy a pint tonight? Yeah, all right then. Whereas now it just can't happen. And that's not just because we're in a different country. I think if you're in the same country, there are people who are shielding. It's difficult to meet up. So I think personally, I am the same. Looking forward to family. Sorry, I just pulled my headphones out of my ears. I don't know about you. Do you ever have one of those things that just really annoys you? And pulling headphones out of my ears is just, it's like stubbing your toe for me. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing Louise's kids. That's my sister. I mean, they were young when we saw them. Mm-hmm. We've not met my brother's kids yet.
We've not met Ilaria yet. Aww.
6 months old. So she'll be probably almost a year, I think. She'll be a year when we meet her. And then just friends and family and friends. And there's something about people you've known for a long time where there's no expectation. You just pick up where you left off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm hopeful for that too, that there will be more long weekends in places random that we decide to go to. I'm hopeful that I will have that girls' weekend that we've been dreaming about for a couple of years now. And do you know what else I would love to do in the future over Christmas? In a different time, maybe if we're lucky enough to have the years ahead of us, is actually spend Christmas somewhere like really different. Like I was speaking to Alec, one of our good friends, and bless him, his plans were ruined as well last year because they planned to spend Christmas in Thailand. I was like, how cool would that be? Something completely different, and what a beautiful time of year to be in Southeast Asia as well. So yeah, I'm hopeful that something crazy like that will happen in the future.
Tell us what you're hopeful for. Jump on Instagram, search for Sideways Life. I said the in a really weird way. Sideways Life. Search for Sideways Life on Instagram. Drop us a message. So just listen to your podcast, your episode on being hopeful. And I'm hoping for X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's your little challenge. So we talked a bit, was it yesterday, about practicing gratitude and how important that is, or maybe the day before. So your challenge today, 3 things that you're grateful for in the present. Mm-hmm. And 3 things that you're hopeful for in the future.
Lovely. And don't hope to win the lottery. Do you know that there's a stat that says something like 40% of people who win the lottery go bankrupt within 2 years?
Yeah.
So you don't want hope for that.
Money don't solve it.
Meaningless money. Literally, one money is worthless because it has no worth to you because you've not worked for it. Wow, windfall money.
Financial security is a thing, and that's important for your well-being as well. But in terms of having an excessive amount of money, that ain't going to make you happier.
I don't know. For some people it is. For some people it will, because I think they're very competitive.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will.
But is it about the money then, or is it about success?
No, of course not.
But money is their measure of success.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Of course. And you go and find professional athletes. But I mean, that's that. I'm not going to go down a tangent, but I mean, people who say, oh, Jeff Bezos is he's filthy rich or whatever. Jeff Bezos is basically the Usain Bolt of the entrepreneurial world. He has the natural skill and ability to build businesses and be entrepreneurial, but also he's worked really, really, really hard at that. So don't judge him based. Yeah, that's like saying Usain Bolt, oh, he's filthy fast. What? That doesn't make any sense. Leanne's looking at me as if I've gone on a bit of a rant.
No, it's just an interesting analogy. Isn't Bezos the one, though, that the only billionaire that hasn't signed up to that? Give you money.
All right, well, he was a bad example.
Yeah, maybe like a Steve Jobs in his day, or a Richard Branson, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like my analogy is starting to fall apart a little bit here. Anyway, I think my point was that windfall money is worthless because it literally has no worth. So do not wish for that. Wish for success and being paid what you're worth. Okay. Leanne and I have this weird thing that if we say something like that, I'll always pretend to smoke a spliff or something and then just pass it. And I'll pass it across to Leanne. A little fake. Anyway. Shall we re-record this last bit of the episode? Because I feel like I've gone off on one.
No, I think the listeners are used to it.
Fair enough.
Fine. So yeah, so there you go. So what we've got coming tomorrow, Al?
Are we talking about volunteering when you're abroad?
Maybe we're waiting for those couple of voice notes to come through, but yeah, hopefully.
2 people on our eye on. We'll shivvy them later on, and whatever happens, we will see you tomorrow for day 17.
You will. Until then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.